someone is trying to take Gabe Newell for nearly $1 billion, specifically £656 million. If you live in the UK and you've bought a game on Steam since 2018 or 2010 if you're in Scotland, a group of lawyers is claiming you were robbed. They filed a massive class action lawsuit in the London Competition Appeal Tribunal, and as of January 26, 2026, a judge just ruled that this case is moving forward to a full-blown legal war. You may remember as we first covered this case when it was starting back in 2024, which is different from the other antitrust cases Valve is facing in the United States right now. On the surface, this sounds like a win for the little guy, right? The lawsuit claims Valve is a big, bad monopoly using its dominant position to overcharge us by 30% on every single purchase. They say Valve is stifling competition and forcing prices up, but most gamers would know that's simply not true. Today we're diving into the recent 2026 filing for Vicky Shotbolt vs. Valve Corporation. I've read the judgment, I've seen the evidence, and I'm going to show you why Valve's defense is actually incredibly strong, and why their competitors failing isn't Valve's fault. It's just that their competitors kind of suck. Now let's look at the filing. The proposed class representative, or PCR, is a woman named Vicky Shotbolt. Her team claims that Valve has engaged in 3 specific anti-competitive behaviors. First, there's the 30% commission. The filing states the PCR's case on excessive pricing is that the 30% commission is significantly above a competitive level. They're calling this an unfair price that gets passed directly to you, the consumer. Second, they're attacking price parity. They allege Valve uses platform most favored nation clauses, which claims Valve tells developers if you sell your game on Steam, you aren't allowed to sell it cheaper anywhere else. The lawsuit says this restricts the ability of other platforms to compete on price. Third, they hate add-on bundling. They claim Valve forces publishers to use Steam's payment system for DLCs and in-game items, ensuring Valve gets their 30% cut of every hat, skin, and map pack. On paper, this might sound like a monopoly, but the tribunal's judgment reveals a massive hole in the prosecution's logic. This is where the lawsuit starts to fall apart. Valve's lead defense is something the PCR seemingly ignored in their initial math, which are Steam keys. If you ever bought a Steam game from Humble Bundle, Fanatical, or directly from a developer's website, you know that Valve generates those keys for developers for free. Valve takes a 0% commission on those sales, just straight up zero. In the 2026 judgment, Valve's lawyers argue that the lawsuit is fundamentally broken because it doesn't account for this. The document quotes Valve's defense. Without a credible plan for taking Steam keys into account, the PCR cannot establish Steam's actual effective commission charge, and without this, the PCR cannot establish whether the commission charge amounts to an unfair price. Just think about that for a second. If a developer sells 50% of their copies via Steam keys, where Valve takes 0%, and 50% through the Steam store, where Valve takes 30%, the effective commission isn't 30%, it's actually 15%. Valve provides the servers, the bandwidth, the forums, the workshop, and the cloud saves for all of those users, even the ones who didn't pay Valve a single penny. The PCR is trying to claim Valve is greedy while ignoring the fact that Valve literally gives away its infrastructure to developers to sell elsewhere without giving Valve anything. As Valve argued in the filing, the suing group failed to show a plan to determine which Steam partners actually paid these allegedly unfair prices. The lawsuit claims Valve is restricting competition. So let's look at the competition. For years, we've heard from Epic Games that they were going to save gamers from Steam with their 12% cut. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars on exclusives. They've given away hundreds of free games, and yet most PC gamers still prefer Steam. But why is that? It's because the Epic Games Store is, quite frankly, a mess compared to Steam. Where is the Epic Games Workshop? Where is their version of the robust Steam input system that makes almost any controller work? Where are the community forums, the trading cards, the market, the discovery queue, the reviews, and the Proton layer that lets us play Windows games on Linux and the Steam Deck? The lawsuit argues that Valve's 30% cut is excessive, but it fails to quantify the massive value of the services Valve provides. If you go to a fancy restaurant, you pay more than you would at a simple drive-thru. You aren't being overcharged, you're simply just paying for the experience and that service. Steam is the fine dining experience of PC gaming, because anyone can go to Epic and collect free games. But as we talked about in our previous video, many gamers would actually rather choose to buy it from Steam instead. The judge essentially said that while Valve's points about Steam keys are important, they are matters for a trial, not for stopping the lawsuit before it starts. The tribunal used a legal concept called the broad axe. This is a real term used in UK competition law. It means that if a court thinks there has been a wrong, they don't need a scientific or mathematical calculation of the damages. They can use a broad axe to estimate what Valve might owe. But here's what the lawyers behind this class action won't tell you. If they win and Valve is forced to pay them £656 million, what happens next? The lawsuit claims individual gamers could get between £22 and £44 back, which isn't even enough to get you a AAA game today. But in exchange, you are attacking the one company that has consistently pushed PC gaming forward. If Valve is forced to lower its commission or change its price parity rules, this lawsuit is being brought by Vicky Shotbolt Class Representative Limited, which is a company set up to sue Valve. This isn't a grassroots movement of angry gamers like with what you would see with Stop Killing Games. It's a calculated legal strike by people who see a nearly $1 billion pile of money and want a piece of it. Now let's be real about the other distribution channels the lawsuit mentions. The filing says Valve prohibits publishers from selling on better terms elsewhere. If Ubisoft, EA, or Epic really wanted to take Steam down, all they had to do was make a better app. EA tried with Origin, but it was so bad they eventually crawled back to Steam. Ubisoft tried with Uplay. Everyone hated it, and they also came crawling back to Steam. Epic is still trying, and they still don't have a basic big picture mode that competes with Valve. Steam constantly wins because everyone else just sucks. So the judgment on January 26, 2026 was just the beginning. It means the court has officially certified the class. If you are a UK gamer, you are now officially a part of this. It is an opt-out system similar to the publisher lawsuit happening in the United States. You don't even have to sign up. The lawyers have actually already signed you up. They are claiming to represent around 14 million people. But here's the kicker. Valve isn't backing down and just letting them win. In the filing, Valve points out that the suing group failed to show a plan to determine which Steam partners actually paid these allegedly unfair prices. If the lawyers can't prove which developers were harmed, how can they prove the consumers were also harmed from them? I think we're watching a massive attempt to tax Valve's success. Steam changed PC gaming. Valve built a solution. They took the risk when nobody else would. Calling them a monopoly now just because they're the only ones who did it right is a slap in the face to every gamer who enjoys the features Steam provides for free. If you want a cheaper, worse experience, the Epic Game Store is right there. The fact that nobody wants to use it isn't Valve's fault. This lawsuit is going to drag on for years, but as it stands, Valve has the facts on their side. But I want to hear it from you. Do you feel robbed by Valve? Or are you like me and you think Steam actually treats its users with respect? Now don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you want to stay updated on everything related to Valve and Steam.